Another game, Jeff, that we haven't had the opportunity to talk about, we've talked about it off camera, is Gears of War.
Yeah.
And both of us are, we're excited about the future of what Gears could potentially, with E-Day and where that could be going. I want to talk to specifically, though, in this segment about something else within Gears of War that there's been a lot of talk about. It has not been confirmed yet, but a Gears of War collection.
Mm-hmm.
And Gears of War, guys, is one of, my favorite franchises of all time. I love Gears. I'm passionate about it.
That's probably one of the more iconic franchises in video game history.
Oh, I absolutely love it. The collection obviously would be, like a full-blown remaster or whatever you want to call it, Marcus Phoenix collection of the trilogy, leading us. A lot of people it's rumored to be coming out later this year. And then Gears of War E-Day comes out the following year. So the collection would kind of quench our thirst for Gears of War before Gears of War E-Day next year. Well, it was really interesting, and I want to get your take on this because there has been a lot of talk about the collection on X, on social media, Reddit, on different forums, and I took a screenshot of a thread between a couple of people. Ches Corden, he is a very popular reporter when it comes to pretty much all things Xbox, but he really reports on a lot of things just gaming, and he's pretty accurate on a lot of different things. There was a guy who reached out to him on X. His name was Milky. He said that there's rumors about the Gears of War collection, and Ches goes, "What's the rumor?" And there's a guy, his name's Those Nerdy Guys. He goes, "No multiplayer. The source doesn't exactly inspire confidence, though." And Ches says, "Actually, I too have heard no multiplayer."
Interesting.
Which I wanted to talk to you about this because, and it's not even so much the collection not having multiplayer, because maybe they just want to remaster the original, the stories, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean
no co-op. That doesn't mean no co-op.
Correct.
That just probably means no PvP.
So, right. So maybe you can still do Horde mode or something, maybe Beast mode.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. What this is really creating, though, is an interesting narrative as to, well, if they don't have it in the collection, does this mean they don't have it in E-Day?
That is a good question.
And so now, look, guys, we take all this stuff with a pinch of salt. Ches Corden he's very great at what he does. He's not confirming that it's not in there, but he's saying he's hearing things, and he's hearing that it's not in there. Jeff, what would be your thoughts about a collection? Let's just start there. A collection of Gears of War, one of these, most iconic franchises, at least in Xbox history.
Oh yeah.
You'd say, I mean, you have Halo and Gears
and Forza
and maybe Fable. But it's kind of like 1A, 1B. You want to put Gears and Halo up there. Well, first of all, what's your history with Gears?
So I've only played Gears 3.
Okay.
I've only played Gears 3 because it came with my Xbox. Okay. When I bought my Xbox One, I got some special deal where it came with Gears of War 3 on it. And I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And I had a friend of mine who was really into the Gears story and into Gears itself. And he kind of just explained to me, he's hey, this is what happened. If you have any questions about the lore, just feel free to ask me. Hey, this is this guy. There's Dom. So it was a nice instance of just having someone who knew what was going on, because I was a little confused, and then he explained it. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But I did enjoy it. I think my favorite thing was just how unique the weapons are.
Mm-hmm. It's different.
Yeah, besides the tomatoes. But the iconic rifle with the chainsaw on the end of it, it's just iconic. As soon as you see it, it's oh, that's the Gears weapon. You know it from just by looking at it.
Yeah. Did you get to dabble in the multiplayer at all?
Not really. I did play a little bit of the multiplayer, but once someone explained how to win always by just spamming left and right between the cover, I'm okay, that's just abusing game mechanics. I don't like that. Yeah.
The Dr. Disrespect always said he didn't like Gears because it was why am I going to play a game where I'm stick, sticking here, sticking to this wall, sticking to that wall, and you're like going back and forth. Like he talked a lot of shit about it. And so I understand like it's a different kind of multiplayer.
Yeah.
But again, you know, we talk about games that like don't need multiplayer. I look at Gears and I'm like, okay, this game was built on multiplayer. Yes, a great story. Would not playing the other, you know, couple like the other number of games that have come out within Gears of War's history. Would you be concerned if a game that had basically multiplayer in every single title, they come out with a collection, but they don't bring multiplayer back to that collection? Would you be concerned about it if it was just going to be like a story narrative driven experience?
So with you saying that, I don't think it'd be that much of a problem. Only because the reason why I say is because I don't know the multiplayer all that too well. But you got to think about, if you do have a collection, why not have a multiplayer that's connected to all three of the connections? Like you get all the Gears games 1 through 4, and then there's a multiplayer that's attached to that.
Like separate.
Yeah, separate, basically.
Oh shit, that's a good idea.
That's
like
not
that.
It's because it's still, because with Gears specifically, having each individual game have their each individual multiplayer, not to mention that's going to kill how many servers you got to keep up, how much it'd just be a pain to have all those 3 games from a collection have 3 different multiplayer servers.
100%.
So why not just have a multiplayer that was connected to all 3 of them?
Right. I agree.
Like I can just picture like a menu, like as soon as you load in the collection, you got the the icons of all 3 of the games, and then off to the side you got the multiplayer one.
And they like take the best maps from like.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to bring that up. Why not just grab the best maps and the best characters from all the games and put them on a multiplayer?
Right.
Map. I think that's that's where I can see a perfect way to go it. Are they going to do that? Who knows?
Yeah, I love that though. I think that's great.
Good,
Okay, so let's look at the future with Gears of War E-Day. Are you planning on playing E-Day?
Depends. If I can have a buddy with if it's on Game Pass, I probably will play it. And if I have a buddy of mine, I'll probably play it even more. But yeah.
I'll be your buddy. You and me go slap some people.
Hey, maybe we'll stream it.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is really actually tough for me because I don't really know how to react to this narrative going around that E-Day's not going to have multiplayer. It's hard for me to kind of wrap my brain around because I'm so used to Gears having a multiplayer. But I brought up like Gears esports shutdown. It has not existed. I mean, you have Gears 5 and, you know, they had esports with Gears 5, but then, you know, after a number of years, they shut it down to really just kind of focus on
the game itself.
Gears of War E-Day and whatever. So I like, at least for me, even though it's like really hard, a game like we talked about Cyberpunk, it doesn't need multiplayer, right? It doesn't. Like, I mean, would it be cool? Sure.
Yes.
But co-op, like we were talking about, would be awesome with Cyberpunk. With Gears, I'm like, okay, if the Coalition came to me and said, Josh, like, here's the deal, man. If we get multiplayer and like it starts to falter, starts to, you know, not do really well, and we're paying for these servers, Microsoft is going to force us to shut down Gears for good, and we're not going to get another Gears game. I would be like, all right, dude, like story it is. And that's it. Horde mode, I'm down. Let me play with my buddies. Let's go let's go crush some shit with co-op, like make more Gears games, make like, you know, DLC or whatever. I would be totally down with that. If that's the mindset, like, look, man, multiplayer
has just not been hitting the same.
It's not hitting the same.
Yeah. I can see their reasonings why. And as long as, because the thing is, multiplayer and co-op, you could have one or the other. It's just such a pain when you have both. Because then you have to have servers dedicated to co-op, servers dedicated to multiplayer. And obviously, there's going to be players who like more than the other. So it's more of the fact, like, what are you willing to sacrifice to make the other one work?
Yeah.
And with Gears multiplayer specifically, don't get me wrong, it's fun. I've had a couple funny moments with both co-op and multiplayer, but I will probably say I've had more fun with co-op than multiplayer.
I love doing Horde mode. I would love to see an extension of Horde mode.
I think Horde modes in any Horde shooter are so much fun. And that brings up that Space Marines 2 is going to have a Horde mode soon.
Really?
Yes.
No way.
I'm excited for that.
That's sick, dude. I love that game. I got like, you know what? I haven't actually like purchased it. I gotta buy it, dude.
It's so much fun. Like, it's just mindless slaughter. And it's it gives you Doom feels.
Does it give you Gears feels at all?
No.
Okay.
Because you feel more powerful in
Space Marine?
In Space Marines.
No way.
But at higher difficulties, you feel fragile.
Yeah. No,
like, you can get deleted so fast in the higher difficulties. Like, to the point where, and I'm very happy that the players picked up on this, is save the stims for people who actually need it and don't hoard it all for yourself. I'm very happy that people have done that instead of like saying, hey, I don't need this stim, you can have it because I know because you're low on HP. Usually I'd avoid the stims for other people who actually need it because the way I play the Immortal Heavy, as I like to call it, I heal off of damage, so I just don't worry about stims. I can go down. It's if I get overwhelmed or I get sniped. But most of the times, if I'm dealing with ads, I don't go down. And not to mention, I got a perk where if I'm the last one standing, my gun doesn't overheat.
Yeah. I think the reality is that you don't have to have multiplayer in order to have a great game. And I think that Gears, even though I've grown up with it being multiplayer only, if you were to tell me, hey, dude, like this is what's going to get us to make more of these games, and it's to have no multiplayer, but great, rich stories, exciting co-op that you can play with your friends, I'm all in for it, dude.
Oh, yeah.
All in.
Yeah.